I was already there. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Michael Sisco Show. I'm your host, Michael Sisco. I think I have a pretty good show lined up for you today. Let me just hang on. I got Entropy set up already. First time I've had it set up so early. Ooh, I have a hole in my head. So let me check out my green screen settings. Looks like that's fixed. So, hole in my head gone. Hole in my head gone. Let's see if we, let me know if you can hear me, guys. I know I got one person watching at least. So, but I did want to start out by reminding you that Garth T. Ogle is nearly complete with the sequel to The Bowl of Tears and Solace. So you can pick up a copy of the first book, The Bowl of Tears and Solace, at saintsedwardmedia.com. Also, I wanted to remind you about the Trad Forum, which will be keynoted by Dr. E. Michael Jones in Argos, Indiana. There will be security precautions taken. It's going to be a safe event. It's also in the middle, I think, a pretty safe location in the middle of nowhere. So I wouldn't have any concerns with that. It's going to be good. I know we got Michael Brother Augustine, aka Michael Witkoff, speaking. David Patrick Harry, Stephanie Nicholas, who's the Tom K. I can't say his last name. I might speak. I know I will at least be emceeing the event, so I haven't decided if I'm going to myself give a speech yet. I am trying to add some additional speakers, but go ahead, purchase a ticket. It's only $50, and there will be food, so it's going to be a good time, good networking opportunity as well. Also, the Orthodox Community Initiative is a full go. It's a full go. We are in this. We're trying to get people to remove it from Romney to a town called Chester, West Virginia, and the topography is not as cool as some people have expressed some dismay about. But I think the location of it is more practical and more attractive to really bring Orthodox people into the location. It's near a lot of churches. There's a lot of Serbians and Greeks in the area, so we'll at least have, at least there'll be a place to go to church before we get our own parish in the town, right? And it's close to good economic region. You could actually work in Pittsburgh if you had to make that drive. But yeah, so if you can make the move to, it's also in a political district that it's important, which will become clear soon as to why that may be important. But it's in a different district than Romney, and that's important for a reason. But yeah, if you can move to Chester, West Virginia, it's a full go. We're gonna try and make this happen. But if you can't, if you want to come to, the second best thing is to get to Congressional District 1, West Virginia. And then if but really just get to West Virginia, because we're going to turn it into the Ortho state, kind of like Utah for the Mormons. I feel like I have something stuck in my mouth. But anyways, that's all of that. Don't buy your tickets to the Trad Forum. We need more ticket holders. We need to sell more tickets to make it a successful event. But partly it's my fault for not promoting it as much. But we have until June. It is June 12th. So get your tickets and let's all make this. Let's go have a good time in the middle of nowhere. Today's topic, obviously, as you can tell by the title, is hang on. Doorman 360 says, "Why did you choose West Virginia for the Ortho state?" Well, the main reason why we chose West Virginia is because it's already kind of friendly to our values. It is a red state, very socially conservative. Um, every state actually voted for President Trump, and the it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's but I think it's ideal to build a traditionally based, community from and be a part of really the state. But no, these are people here that I think we would mesh well with, especially on that socially conservative level. And I think that they would actually embrace us, and that maybe even we would see some conversions if we had a bigger presence here. So also the gun laws are pretty awesome. It's a constitutional carry state. You don't even need a concealed carry permit to conceal a firearm. So those are all good things, especially when you have a community of people that you want to protect as well. But yeah, I just think that this is the ideal place for a to kind of turn into a traditionalist enclave. And I know there are other places. I know that there's something similar happening out in like Idaho. But anyways, on to the subject of today, which is immigration and why it is a crucial issue for conservatives, or why it should be at least. I know we touched on it a little bit yesterday, which is why I wanted to dive in a little more, because even though I think big tech has surpassed this in kind of urgency and importance, this is still the reason why is because we were getting banned for basically talking about immigration. So it's one of those things that the globalists and the technocrats who are globalists, who benefit from mass immigration, they don't want to let us talk about. And that really is the impetus behind why the big tech and the political persecution problem really became a problem. Really, I mean, I'm sure it would have happened either way, but and I know a lot of normies, conservative leaning normies, and polite conservatives, they'll say, well, why are you so hung up on immigration? And frankly, the left has a pretty insidious tactic for shutting down any dialogue on immigration, because when you start discussing it, they don't come after, they don't attack the merit of what you're saying. They don't counter argue with any sort of logic or really any. I mean, sometimes you'll get the really dumb "we're a nation of immigrants" argument, but for the most part, they don't argue conceptually. They just immediately shut you down by calling you a racist or a white supremacist or a white nationalist. And this is how they shut down the dialogue and the discussion. And of course, normal people don't want to be called these names, and so they get bullied into submission, basically keeping their immigration thoughts private, their opinions on immigration. And yeah, but it's important, and I agree with you, Doorman 360. It is a huge problem, and we wouldn't have our current issues if it wasn't today. But when I'm trying to explain this, the importance of immigration to a normal conservative, say someone who's conservative in almost every way except for immigration, where they just don't think of it as a core issue of conservatism. Well, what I say to you, this is usually my first go-to, is all of the conservative issues that you care about, like let's say pro-life, traditional marriage, which that's a little more contested now. We're on the losing end of that right now. Um, gun rights. Any of these issues that you care about from a conservative or any traditional value at all, even maybe even our right to worship and be Orthodox Christians, freedom of expression, freedom to, I don't know, not have your child's genitalia mutilated by the school system or the state because they are under a childish phase in which they think they want to be a girl or a boy, the opposite, whatever they're not. All of these issues are 100% contingent on mitigating immigration, mass immigration, and forced demographic change. Because it is an electoral strategy at its core. It is an electoral strategy. Now I will cite, I didn't go double check, but I've been on the campaigns, a couple of campaigns where, well, one big one where immigration was the main part of the platform. And most of this data is backed up by the Center for Immigration Studies, which, yeah, you can go on the website. But 9 out of 10, legal or illegal, 9 out of 10 immigrants, by the time that they're eligible to vote, 9 out of 10 of them vote for Democrats. Now, illegal immigrants, they vote too with other people's identities. And how do you think they're voting? They're voting for the people who, might be giving them amnesty or open the borders for the rest of their family to come here. And so that's how it's an electoral strategy. And just for that alone should be enough of a reason for all conservatives to oppose mass immigration and to want to do something about it. Because if we don't cut it off, if we keep the flow coming in of basically opposition voters, we're going to lose. And we will never, ever, ever win an election again, not because of voter fraud, but because we have literally opened the floodgates of the border for progressive and liberal voters to just flood in. This is what happened in California. California voted for Ronald Reagan. It was a red state. And then because of demographic change, it became a blue state. And now it's solidly blue. And Virginia flipped blue for the same reason. Northern Virginia basically became an extension of Washington, D.C. with the multiculturalism and it's basically high immigrant population. And Texas is now basically a purple state on the cusp of becoming blue. So I don't trust that Texas will stay red, especially with the crisis at the border right now. So, but the other reason that, there's so much I could ramble on about immigration, probably for, it could take several episodes up, to be honest, because there are different aspects of immigration, like the H1. We can get into the specifics with H-1B visas and J-1A and whatnot, and all of the. So we probably will honestly cover other sides of it in another episode, because I want to hit it from every angle. Doorman 360, pretty sure no other country has this insane immigration policy. It's so hostile to its native population. It is a form of self-destruction. Well, that's kind of a good segue into where I was going with this. I know JT says Virginia was also flipped because of redistricting. Yeah, but you still have to redistricting only works if you have the proper demographics to redistrict around, you know? So it was still demographic change. And also you have to have secured a degree of political power to redistrict. So you have to have that collective power within the legislative body of the state and the governor to be able to flip the districts and make them more solidly in your control for an even longer period of time. So, but the other aspect is pretty much cultural and societal, and more to the real core. I know Nick Fuentes at AFPAC got a lot of backlash from the media for saying this, but the founding stock of our country is pretty much being replaced. And he said that we were a country that was founded by, well, for one, white people, but on a British cultural framework, based on a British cultural framework. So we are an explicitly Western European country at our roots, an extension of, people used to openly call us an extension of Europe. But now, that's probably politically incorrect to even say, an extension of Europe. But what does that even mean anymore? If we go look at Germany or France, they hardly look German or French. So, but the Native American population is below replacement levels. We are, I think, 1.6 children per woman. And so that is below the level of replacement. So we can't self-replace as many people as we are losing. We can't replace them through strictly childbirth. And part of that is the rampant use of birth control, and two, the abortions. At one point, we kill about as many babies as we kill a year. We bring, which is about 1.1 million. We also bring in about 1 million legal immigrants per year. So, also societal pressures basically pressure people into not having children. We've been propagandized to think that we have to do this, that, and another. We have to have a house. We have to have this and that, and all these mise en place in place before we can consider having a kid. Or we have to live our life out before we have children. We have to live a life first while we're young. And I think Vincent James pointed this out on his show the other day. He basically said, no, we have it backwards. Have the kid, don't wait until you have everything lined up or everything you want to have, like a house and a career and all that. Because having the kid and being married and having a family will be the impetus that motivates you to get to earn for them and take care of them. And basically, he's in a position to once his kids in a couple of years will be out of the house, and he'll still be relatively young, late 30s, early 40s, to have the rest of his life to live his life, So waiting until you're in your mid 30s or late 30s, early 40s, probably not the best way to go about it. But anyways, we are bringing in immigrants at a faster rate than we can reproduce ourselves, right? This is what we call a dying society. A dying society. This is the behavior of a dying society. There are huge cultural implications and consequences for this. These, ask yourself, let's just look at how are people of European descent in the United States being treated right now? How is our history being treated? Are we being told to be proud of our ancestry or our history, the founding of this nation? Are we being taught to be proud of that? No, no, we're not. In fact, we're being encouraged to be guilty, to feel ashamed of our, something completely out of our control, how we were born. Groups like Black Lives Matter and Antifa, they're tearing down the monuments to our past, and it's not just Confederate statues. It's also, the statue of Caesar Rodney was brought down in Delaware. So these are our revolutionary heroes, are the heroes of the founding of this nation, are being torn down. And why is this? Why? Because they want to completely undermine and destroy anything that reminds them of our European roots. And so this is, and it probably has a little something to do with Europe having been one of the main vehicles that spread Christianity throughout the world. So anti-whiteness per se, or anti-European sentiments could arguably just be a kind of cover for anti-Christian sentiment. And if you look BLM and Antifa, well, they are communists and they are atheists. Which is why they want to break down the very fundamentals of our history. They want to rewrite our history. They want to erase the memory of our founding and anything positive from our past must be erased and rewritten according to what is necessary for them. They're rewriting a mythos. They need to write a mythos that pushes us towards their progressive or communist anarchist utopia. I mean, there are different strains. It's not a monolith. There's different strains on the left, but they are pretty much working together against. They're all opposed to Europe and the traditional European man and those who descend from them, such as the founding stock of America. Yeah, Doorman, we are watching the repeat of history, really. It's destroy the past and rewrite the man. It's a communist tactic that happened in China and Russia. And I think here in the left, I don't know in the West, I mean, here in America now, that it's really so much communist, but it's the same, it's definitely progressivism. It shares in the same roots from communism, the same foundational Enlightenment ideologies. And so it's the same revolutionary spirit as that in communist Russia and China. And so they're cousins. They will, even though they compete with each other a little bit, they are ultimately the same Antichrist spirit. But we're also, they're brainwashing, they're pushing in every level of government. They have, and including the military, critical race theory they're teaching. So they're brainwashing our government bureaucrats. They're brainwashing our children in college. That's partly why the military is so woke now, because the officers, they're recent college grads, especially the new lieutenants and such. And so these people go and they get brainwashed in college and then, sent off into the real world. And unfortunately, when you join the military with a degree, you're an officer. So Doorman360 says a color revolution is what its technical name is. It's what the CIA does to other countries abroad, and it is happening here. Yep, it sure is. But yeah, I mean, students are students in even high school and they're being taught a washed out history that has an anti-European bias. And obviously it gets worse as they go into college. Our history is being rewritten. So with with the pattern that's currently happening with the demographic change, what are you looking at this, at the destruction, the willful and intended destruction of our history, the rewriting of our history, our monuments coming down? What do you think it'll be like here when whites are in the minority? When people of European descent are in the minority? Will our traditional values be tolerated? Or will it be discarded as, this, well, let's say orthodoxy, for instance, as some, European-rooted, holdover from a system of systematic racism or white supremacy or something like that. I mean, I've seen some BLM rhetoric that actually implies that icons of Christ are symbols of white supremacy and whatnot. Will the British cultural framework upon which this country was founded be discarded as a form of institutional racism? And then after all of this comes into fruition, after we are replaced, the foundational stock of America is replaced with something else, will we even resemble the same America? And for those who make the argument that we are a nation of an idea, based around an idea rather than a people, well, will these new people value and embrace that idea in the same manner and preserve it in the same way that you do? Will they care about the Constitution of the United States that was written by, British people, British colonists? Will they care? Are they going to, love the Constitution like so many conservatives do now? The process of burning down our symbols, rewriting our history, and replacing the population. Would it be celebrated in the same manner if, people of European descent decided to do the same thing somewhere else, like, let's say, Africa, for instance? Would that be celebrated? Would that be tolerated? I doubt it. I highly doubt. But yeah, so that's all I have for you. There's more we could talk about, but that was basically a 30-minute rant on immigration. I will be covering other things, like the other ways that it affects us, especially with our STEM graduates and H-1B visas. So there's a lot more to get into with the negatives of immigration and more specific things rather than the kind of basic outline there. And now that we're halfway through, don't forget, pick up a copy of The Bowl of Tears and Solace, only available on saintsedwardmedia.com. And don't forget to purchase your tickets to the Trad Forum in Argos, Indiana. Keynote speaker, Dr. E. Michael Jones, on June 12th, which I think is a Saturday. So it'll be a fun, intimate group of with good chance to network and hear some good speeches on other people's ideas on how to navigate our future as Christians in this country, which I think is getting more and more important. So, but now we can move on to the news a little bit. Let's go back to the screen share. Let's check out this comment from Doorman real quick. Doorman360 says, we have to understand that the hypocrisy of the color revolution only goes so far. The truth is that the state is waging war on its own population, and many people go along with it as useful idiots. That's true. Very true. Let's check Entropy. A bit of a smaller audience today than yesterday, but it's growing already. Maybe I didn't promote it as well, but I was also late, so that's my fault. My apartment complex is doing we are doing this. They're working on the water pipes, and so they keep cutting the water off for 30-minute segments, and then I have to wait. And it was just terrible timing because, one, I wanted coffee, so I had to wait a little bit, and it makes like showering weird. I have to time my showers, so. But yeah, that's why I was late, because the water was off, and I wanted to wait until the water was on. But forgive me. At least I'm not 90 minutes late every night, like somebody else we know. But yeah, let's hit the news. So the House is to vote on 2 bills. This is from the Epic Times, that provides citizenship path to illegal immigrants. Well, the Democrat-controlled House of Representatives is set to vote on Thursday on 2 immigration bills that would provide a citizenship path for illegal immigrants and legal status for immigrant farm workers. And what I want you to pay attention to are what Republicans agree to this. And I want, actually, if you're watching, so this is all these Republicans are hypocrites, right? They're basically, oh, there's a crisis at the border. This is Biden's fault. Well, if you sign on to this amnesty act, you're encouraging future migrations here. You're gonna make it worse, because why wouldn't they come? Oh, we can wait for the next round of amnesty. We'll just come here and then we'll get amnesty and we'll be U.S. citizens. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what Republicans sign on to this tomorrow, and working towards getting them out of office in 2022. But definitely keep an eye out, and if you can, contact your congressman and your senator to like today, like right now. You can find their office's number on the website, on it. Just Google it. You'll find it. And contact them and let them know that you oppose any form of amnesty to illegal immigrants. So let's do that. It's pretty important. Anyways, let's keep reading a little bit. House Democratic leader Steny Hoyer told reporters that the House would take up the 2 immigration bills on Thursday after they cleared a procedural hurdle on Tuesday. Neither bill was taken up in the Senate when it had a Republican majority. Well, good. With Democrats now holding narrow control of the upper chamber, they hope to be able to attract some Republican support. See, they know that we have Republican traitors. The American Dream and Promise Act would offer a pathway to citizenship to those who entered the country illegally as children and are currently living in the United States, also known as Dreamers. The same bill would also help immigrants in the country who receive temporary migration protections. The bill is sponsored by Representative Lucille Roybal Allard, a Democrat from California. An estimated 4.4 illegal immigrants could become eligible for permanent residence if the bill is passed, according to the Migration Policy Institute. That's insane. That is. I'm complaining about bringing in 1.1 million people a year, but we're about to just give 4.4 illegal immigrants a pass and make them Americans? That's crazy. Crazy. And of course, it's going to cost the taxpayers. Yeah, it's going to cost a lot of money in government assistance and services. But in 2019, 7 Republicans joined the 230 Democrats in the House in voting for the bill. The other immigration bill, the Farm Workforce Modernization Act, would provide illegal immigrant agricultural workers a path to legal status and make the H-2A guest worker visa program more flexible for employers. The bill is sponsored by Representative Zoe Lofgren, Democrat from California, and has a Republican co-sponsor, Representative Dan Newhouse from Washington State. Write that name down, because we are going to. This is a guy that we need to take care of politically. We disavow all violence. But yeah, we need to. This is someone that should go on the 2 primary list. And it passed in the House in 2019 with the support of 34 Republicans. Hoyer said on Tuesday these 2 bills are not the fix, but they are a fix to part of the problem. But we need to pass comprehensive immigration reform, and we're going to do so in the coming months. You know what kind of reform I want? More efficient deportations. That's what I want. Like, why are these people here? To rape our children, rape our women and our children. These people are, generally speaking, just ask the angel moms. Just go look and go ask the angel moms how good, what valuable contributions these people have to make to our society. Representative Tom McClintock, Republican from California, ranking member of the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Immigration, said on Tuesday that the 2 bills are implicitly promising the next generation all they have to do is get here and their turn will come. Well, he's right. Write this guy's name down because he's good. I don't know how he is on every issue, but he's right here. That's absolutely correct. It's an implicit promise. Hey, just come over, and if you make it long enough, you'll get your turn for amnesty too. The 2 bills each address portions of a larger radical immigration reform bill that Democrats formally introduced last month in both the House and the Senate with the support of President Joe Biden, the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021. This bill models closely Biden's sweeping proposal he sent to Congress on his first day in office. It would provide an 8-year pathway to U.S. citizenship for an estimated 11 illegal immigrants in the country. Its lead co-sponsors, Senator Bob Menendez and Representative Linda Sanchez, both Democrats. This bill does not offer any enhanced border security, which past immigration negotiations have used as a way to win Republican votes. The bill would need the support of at least 10 Republicans in the Senate to pass. I hope that doesn't happen. But who really has faith in the Republicans at this point? And there's nothing that should be negotiated here. This is hogwash. This is baloney. Senator Dick Durbin, the Senate's number 2 Democrat, said on Monday that he doesn't believe that the Biden-backed bill would have enough backing in either chamber, but he promised that the House would eventually pass a more far-reaching immigration reform plan. Yeah, I believe in immigration reform, like a 10-year moratorium at net zero, making it more difficult to become an American. Senator Lindsey Graham, our good friend, one of the leading Republicans in past talks on immigration, said that he believed bipartisan progress on immigration legislation would be much harder amid a surge in illegal immigrants at the U.S.-Mexico southern border. You don't say. Why would you legalize anybody, sending another incentive to keep coming until you stop the flow? He told the reporter on Capitol Hill. I think it's going to be really hard to get a bipartisan bill together on anything that has a legalization component until you stop the flow. Well, how about we never have a legalization component? Almost no border security. Graham called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021 a non-starter in part because it had almost no border security. Well, this is what they want. They want open borders. They want free flowing into the United States. And that's exactly what they want. Let's check the time. Doorman says, Bob Menendez is a Jersey senator. It's a shame he escaped getting hit with those corruption charges. These politicians are a disgrace. Jersey politics are hopelessly corrupt. Yeah, it seems like a pretty steeped in the mud there. But I mean, that's enough. You guys get the gist of this. It's just we're gonna see some Republicans betray us on immigration, and it's just the same old, same old, same old. But hopefully, they can't get 10 and just dies in the Senate. I'm really interested to see what Republicans do sign on, because I mean, it's good information to know. It's good to know for the America First movement to see who signed on to this and who we need to target. But none of this is good. You don't want to do amnesty. Amnesty is just, it is incentivizing people to do this, to come to our country illegally. And you're more than likely granting citizenship to dangerous criminals who are here running drugs. Lauren Witzke can attest to a lot of that. And some of those people really are here legally. A lot of those migrants that come here from chain migration. But, these aren't the best. These aren't, and we don't even have really a real merit system here in our country for it to really apply to anyone trying to come in. And to me, I'm not a big fan of skill-based immigration either, because then we're replacing, Americans who could be doing those jobs. And I don't buy into the whole narrative that we don't have the people here with those skills, because most of the time we do, which is why 50% of our STEM graduates from college can't find work. So there's that. And yeah, we need to get immigration under control. But yeah, some nice little snippet about Rand Paul here. He suggests that, and remember, Rand Paul is actually a doctor. He's a doctor. So Rand Paul suggests people who had COVID-19 don't need a vaccine. Senator Rand Paul, Republican from Kentucky, on Tuesday suggested people like himself who have had COVID-19 and recovered do not need to get a COVID-19 vaccine. About 30 million people have gotten the infection naturally, like myself. The interesting thing is that there is no more than a handful of reports of people getting it again, and there's every indication that having been infected with it provides strong natural immunity, Paul told reporters on Capitol Hill on Sunday. The interesting thing is that of the 30 million people who have gotten it once, there's not even a report of someone getting it again or dying. So the statistics are overwhelming that acquiring the infection naturally provides immunity, he said. Paul, 58, who has not received a vaccine, I said he has not received a vaccine as of yet. I'm going with the science on this one. Yeah, I have not chosen to be vaccinated because I got it naturally, and the science of 30 million people and the statistical validity of a 30 million sample, it's pretty overwhelming that naturally immunity exists and works, he added. Paul noted that he has spoken in support of getting vaccinated for those who have not been infected with COVID-19, the disease caused by the CCP. I would disagree with him there. The herd immunity is the concept of building enough protection among a population through vaccination or prior infection to diminish the circulation of a virus. Public health officials in the United States have largely focused on vaccination rather than prior infection in the bid to reach herd immunity. According to the CDC, people who have gotten COVID-19 should still get a vaccine. You should be vaxxed, well, because, there's They want to test their mRNAs, their new science on us. And they want to put digital tattoos from Bill Gates in us. So why wouldn't they want to know how that we could successfully insert instructions into your DNA? Like, why wouldn't that be viable information for an insidious government that wants to control your thoughts? Can you imagine providing instructions into your DNA to control how you think? Like, is that far-fetched? If you can insert instructions into your DNA now for the purpose of you know, instructing your immune system to produce proteins to fight off COVID-19. You really think it's that far stretched to think that they could insert instructions to control your thoughts and to make you a well-behaved and non-dissident citizen? Or maybe inclined not to believe in God or truth? Or these are things that I wouldn't put past these disgusting globalist people. Doorman360 says, I can personally attest that how a lot of people get in the USA is via coming here illegally, then becoming legal after the fact. That's true. Hey, look who's in the chat. Brittany Dumas. It's not a far-fetched idea. Look at the declassified CIA docs, MK Ultra being a prime example of mind control. And how, it would just be more effective if you can just insert the instructions in the DNA. So honestly, embracing this technology is stupid. It is incredible. Like, if you just want to hand the ultimate power, it's like to the government and the transhumanist project. That is the transhumanist project. Now it just clicked in my head. Like, I heard somebody say, oh, the vaccine is transhuman. And I think Andrew Torba maybe said it. And at first I kind of was like, well, how? But now I get it, because if you could use this technology for those purposes, like that, you just can't. So no, I'm not down with that. It should be, it should be outlawed. mRNA should not be a legal thing. You should not be able to insert. Well, it's definitely critical that we maintain the right to consent on these medical issues, because that's not a far stretch. I'm not consenting to have any sort of tampering with my DNA. Like, that could be used in such an insidious manner. I just can't ever get down with that. But yeah, good to have you here, Brittany. Haven't heard from you in a little while. Good to see you. I was looking at my analytics the other day, and the last 28 days, my female viewership has been almost nothing, almost zero, close to 0% for the last month. So thank you for helping my my analytics go up a little bit for the female viewers. Doorman360 says, we're going to need regular Microsoft updates like our PC operating systems. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. Feels like what they're doing. So, but anyways, the last thing that I want to touch on with the news today, we had a mass shooting event yesterday, and the left is trying really hard. They're trying really hard to leverage this for their narrative, which of course we found out today that I'm sure you guys have heard. We had this guy, he shot and killed, I think, 8 people on shooting up these massage parlors. Now, apparently these were places that he knew to be places where he would go to satisfy his sexual addiction. And so he thought that, the best way to go about it, instead of, engaging in the spiritual struggle of fighting your temptation spiritually and, not giving in, he thought that a better idea would be to go and shoot these places up. Now, these happen to be quote unquote Asian spas. So the left is Daily Beast. I have scarymommy.com, which is actually an amusing website to read. I like reading the other side, what the other side's saying, and they're obviously spinning this against, look, this white guy attacked Asians. Also, he likes pizza, guns, and he's Christian. And so, of course, that's the spin. The white Christian gun nut, right? And this just happens to be perfectly timed. I'm not saying anything because I would never suggest that anything like this would be other than the way that it's presented in the media as fact, but it just so happens to come at a time when the Democrats are pushing gun control through the House, and also happens to come at a time when, the whole hate crime against Asian thing was getting exposed for what it really was, which is Black people attacking Asians in mass. And so now the left gets its they get their spin now to fit their narrative of white people attacking Asians, hate crimes against Asians. And so now they're going to completely ignore the Blacks attacking Asians, and they're going to focus on this guy who supposedly had a racially motivated shooting, which he says it wasn't racially motivated at all. And he stated this to the police in his testimony, that it was because he had a sex addiction and he viewed these places as places of temptation that he wanted to eliminate. Not the way to go about the spiritual struggle, guy. Also, terrible timing. Like, why can't these people look and see the anti-gun legislations and about to go through the legislature before they decide to be freaking violent morons? But way to ruin it, big guy. Doorman 360 says, it's wrong to take out our frustration with our own sins on others. Yes, that's true. And Brittany says, it's always a white Christian 2A nationalist patsy. Yeah, who knows? Sometimes it's hard to tell if these things are like actually real. But, I would never suggest that they're not. Robert Aaron Lang's Instagram bio, we'll just read through this quickly, reads, pizza, guns, drums, music, family, and God. Police are still trying to find out the motive of Robert Aaron Long. Well, this is obviously dated because they know now. He told them. The 21-year-old from Georgia who is accused of killing 8 people in a shooting spree that took place in 3 different Atlanta area massage parlors last night. But as details about the suspect, who was apprehended by police after a highway chase began to trickle in, the public is learning more like that an Instagram account that appeared to belong to Long had this bio, pizza, guns, drums, music, family, and God. That pretty much sums up my life. It's a pretty good life. The shootings, which took place over the course of an hour, appeared to target Asian-owned businesses, and at least 6 of the people killed were of Asian descent, reports say. Long's attacks comes during a time when targeted attacks against Asian people and communities have been on the rise. When asked if he believed the shootings amounted to a hate crime, Atlanta Police Chief Rodney and Bryant told reporters, "We can't make that determination just yet." Cherokee County Sheriff Captain Jay Baker elaborated a bit more, saying, "Nothing is going to be ruled out. Wherever the investigation leads us, that's where we are going to go." Police say the rampage started at Young's Asian Massage in Ackworth, where 2 people were killed at the scene. One died en route to a hospital. Another died later while being treated. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported that 2 of the victims were Asian women. One was a white woman and one was a white man. Police said a Hispanic man was injured in the shooting. About an hour later, 2 massage parlors at the same street in Atlanta were targeted. Gold Spa and Aromatherapy Spa. 4 Asian women were killed between those 2 locations. Security video footage from the massage parlor helped police identify Long's vehicle, which was later spotted on Interstate 75 about 150 miles south of Atlanta. After a chase, a state trooper managed to cut off Long's SUV, and he was taken into custody. Video footage places the Cherokee County suspect's vehicle in the area around the time of our Piedmont road shootings. Atlanta police said in a press release that along with video evidence viewed by investigators suggests it is extremely likely our suspect is the same as the Cherokee counties who's in custody. Long's family has not spoken to reporters or made any kind of public statement. His youth pastor at Crabapple First Baptist Church confirmed he was a suspect in the killing and said that church elders are planning to release a statement. The Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus said it was horrified by the massage parlor shootings at a time when we're already seeing a spike in anti-Asian violence, which this author has, through via hyperlink, has blamed on white supremacy, which we know not to be true because literally it's from black people. Yeah. Wait, how many whites do you know that want to go around assaulting Asians? Like, it's just not real. It's a boogeyman. It's fake. Literally a fake story. But look at how they end. Look at how she insidiously ends her article. This is on purpose. She's like saying it without saying it. A former classmate of Long's, who was asked to remain anonymous, told the reporters, so anonymous, right? So it's probably fake. He was very innocent seeming and wouldn't even cuss. He was sort of nerdy and didn't seem violent from what I remember. He was a hunter and his father was a youth minister or pastor. He was big into religion. So do you see what they're painting here? They're painting as threats a hunter. So they're going after rural, religious, and white. Rural, white Christians. These are the targets of the new smear campaign. And these people are supposedly anti-Asian and a threat to... And I think part of this might be... it's an interesting strategy. Oh wait, I wasn't even screen sharing. But you know, a lot of our complaints were I think this is a wedge strategy that they're going for, because whites and Asians have had a joint grievance when it comes to a lot of the affirmative action measures, because the people who have been hurt the most by affirmative action are whites and Asians. And to a large degree, Asians have been affected more by affirmative action. So I think they're trying to knock out 2 birds with 1 stone here by creating a wedge between and building and fomenting this tension, racial tension between whites and Asians, because, well, frankly, we're allies. We are allies in the fight against affirmative action, which is unfairly targeting both of us. So there's that. And then, of course, they always are going to hop on the opportunity to demonize exactly what Brittany says here, Demonizing straight white Christian men is the media's goal. Let's see here. Check out some of these comments. I see a lot. You guys have been quite chatty while I was reading that. Guaranteed, Brittany says, guaranteed his web activity has been swiped by the FBI. Doorman360 says we don't know if it's real or not, but we know we have enough evidence to question the veracity of these events. MK Ultra was partly used to create incidents like this. Yeah, social engineering. Doorman360 says, remember the Christchurch shooting? That had so many red flags of suspicion it made my head spin. Brittany says the media is the propaganda arm of the globalists. Well, we know that. Anyone that watches my show knows that. Doorman says whites tend to be pretty tame and concerned with their immediate surroundings. Some of them get zealous, though. I say this as a mulatto Latino. Yeah, they have to attack, which I know it's kind of the whole demographic change thing too. Got to attack the primary population of the USA and Western Europe. Otherwise, you can't reform the country as you please. Yep. Brittany says, don't forget, Clown Prez bombed Syria days after his inauguration. It's true. It's true. Let's check. No Entropy chats today. No Entropy chats, but that's okay. That's all right. Anyways, I have to get going for the day. I have to get ready for my evening activities, and I have to cook. I have to cook lentil soup because I can't afford to be spending all this money on fasting food. I have to cook.